What's up guys, Mojad here. So my last two videos I've basically been talking about myself, and in my last video I talked about my addiction to this thing called Femdom and how I want to get rid of that addiction. But I also talked about how I have this goal to basically shed some light onto what Femdom is, because I know that a lot of people don't know what it is. And I want to hopefully, by doing that, cause some damage to the Femdom community, because that community is just terrible, and I think that, it needs to come to an end. I don't know if I could actually pull that off, like cause it to come to an end. Probably not, but I hope that I will have some success in at least causing some form of damage to that community, because yeah, it's just not a good community. Anyways, before I just decided that before I got into doing any of that, it would only make sense for me to basically give you guys like a glossary of all of the words, terms, and phrases used within the femdom community, so that you're not confused as to what they are. So yeah, I'm going to do that in this video, and the first one I'm going to be talking about is a thing called Findom, not femdom. I know they sound very similar, femdom and findom, but they are two completely different things. So yeah, let's get into it. So what is Findom? Findom is a kink where a person likes to send somebody their money literally just because they find that person attractive. The word Findom is literally a combination of the two words financial and domination. And you might be asking, well, what does this person get in return for, giving this person their money? The answer to that question is literally nothing. They don't get anything in return for sending this person their money. That is what the kink is. They are willingly giving this person lots of their money, sometimes hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars that they've kept in their bank accounts, or sometimes it's cash that they're physically handing them, and they don't get anything in return. It's not like a sugar daddy or a sugar baby relationship where the sugar daddy is giving their sugar baby money in return for sex or whatever. It's not like that. They aren't getting anything in return. Sometimes, like, they might get sent pictures, just like a selfie or whatever. Most of the time it's they talk to the person in the DMs. Like, they DM this person and talk to them a little bit, but besides that, there's like basically nothing. And when they do send selfies of themselves, it's usually it's usually something that has absolutely no nudity in it at all. They don't send they hardly ever send like nude pictures of themselves or anything like that. Sometimes they do. There are some DOMs, as you would call them, these DOMs that would send nude pictures or nude videos of themselves, depending on the person that they're talking to. But yeah, that's what Findom is. It's when you send somebody your money with zero expectation to get anything in return. Now that you know a little bit more about what Findom is, here's a few more words and terms within the Findom kink. The first one, as I already mentioned, is the word Dom. And the word Dom is an abbreviated version of the word dominatrix. And that's basically the person that is receiving the money from these people. The person that, is on these platforms like Twitter, that is, posting pictures of themselves and, receiving money from people that find them attractive. And the other term is the word pay pig. The pay pig is, of course, the person that is sending them the money. The word PayPay could, like, the person that is sending them the money could also be referred to as a sub, subby, or a fin sub. And there's a few others in there. But yeah, that's what they are called. Actually, I think that I should also mention the fact that there are a few more words that, these DOMs like to be called, besides the word Dom. If you're a female Dom, which most of them are female, then they also like to be called goddess, or they like to be called princess. Some of them call themselves brat or mistress is another one. Some of them even outright call themselves God. It's really fucked up, but yeah, some of them do call themselves God. Now that you know some of those labels, two other words that are important to know is the word rinse and the word drain. The word drain is pretty self-explanatory. When a Dom says that they're going to drain somebody, that means that they're literally going to drain their bank account. That means that they want to, take some money from somebody's account or a group of people's accounts or whatever. And yeah, that's what that means. But the word rinse, on the other hand, that means when a Dom wants to take everything from somebody. That means that they literally want to zero out somebody's bank account, so to speak. Yeah, that's what that means. When a Dom says that they want to rinse somebody, that literally means that they want to take all that they have at that current moment from them. Besides that, there are many other things within Femdom to talk about, but the last thing that I want to talk about within Femdom is this thing called a retweet game. So on Twitter, there's this thing called a retweet game where basically there's a sub that will ask for a retweet game. I mean, sometimes I think at least the retweet game is initiated from the Dom themselves, but anyways, it's basically when a Dom will post a picture onto their Twitter page, and they'll say there'll be a number that says, for example, like 222 or 333 or whatever, and there'll be a time limit like 1 hour or 3 hours or whatever it may be, and there'll be a limit for how many comments you could leave onto the post that they made. Like there'll be like two comments, a 2 comment limit for Doms, or a 1 comment limit for subs. And basically what that all means is, for every single like, comment, and repost, they will have to, if it says 222, that means that the sub will have to pay $2 for each one. $2 for each comment, $2 for each retweet, and $2 for each like that they get on their post. So let me just show an example real quick. So as you can see in this picture here, this person is asking for $7 per retweet, like, and comment. And there's another thing that is, pretty rare. You don't ever really see this, but as you can see here, they have $2 per view. So that means that they're going to be receiving $2 from this person for every single view. They have 2.9k views. It's a lot of fucking money. 3 comments each, which means that you can only leave 3 comments, on their posts, per person. And they left this tweet out for 10 hours. This was posted on August 21st. So they got 52 comments on their post, 28 reposts, 136 likes, and they got 2,992 views, which of course also includes me. So this isn't going to be the perfect calculation, because I'm also assuming that all of the comments were posted within the 10-hour time limit. But that means that this sub would have had to have paid $7,132 by the time this 10-hour time limit was done. $7,000. I really hope that based off the information that I've given thus far, you guys are really starting to understand just how bad Femdom is. But I do have a few more words and phrases to go over, just because, you know, some of these phrases are usually typed out as an acronym rather than actually typing out the whole thing. The first two acronyms are pretty nasty, so quick disclaimer there, but I'm not actually going to go into full detail about them. Instead, I'm just going to put some text right here to basically give you guys an idea of what these acronyms mean. The first acronym is CBT, and that stands for. The second acronym is CEI, and that stands for. The last acronym on my list is a thing called SPH. I mean, I guess that I could say what this is out loud because it's not as, you know, bad as the other ones, but I'm still not going to. The acronym SPH, it's basically a fetish that revolves around women laughing at the size of a person's, you know what. Another thing that is commonly said is, you know, shrimp, which, as you can imagine, is referring to the size of, you know what. So, yeah. I think that pretty much wraps up this video. Those are all of the words, terms, and phrases that I think are the most important to cover before I talk about, before I expose, you know, the Femdom community any further. Now, just to be clear, those aren't all of the fetishes within the Femdom community, but all the other fetishes out there are honestly pretty self-explanatory. If you see them, you know, on Twitter, if you see, you know, it getting mentioned in somebody's post, it's, you know, it won't be very hard for somebody to figure out what they're talking about. With that being said, I just decided not to cover all of them. Now that this has been covered, I'm going to proceed with, you know, making the video or the next few videos where I'll be exposing some of the stuff that I have done within the Femdom community, because, you know, it's only right for me to, you know, get that out of the way first before I start exposing other people for the bad stuff that they have done. But yeah, I know that now that you've watched this video, a lot of you are most likely going to be wondering, what are my fetishes? What are the parts of Femdom that I guess, associate with or have engaged with? And I don't think that I really want to dive into that. To be honest, I don't really feel comfortable doing that. Even though I'm going to be, you know, exposing, you know, a lot of the bad stuff that I've done, and, you know, I already have exposed myself for, you know, being a part of this community in the first place. I don't really think that I want to do that. And I mean, you guys are going to kind of get an idea of what fetishes I have, you know, engaged with as I start to expose myself. And who knows, like, I'm not going to share everything with you guys. I'm not going to share all of the posts that I've engaged with, because, you know, I can't, even if I wanted to. Like, I can't show certain things on YouTube. But anyways, I think that it's possible that even if I don't choose to share certain information with you guys will most likely end up finding out anyways, because, you know, there might be somebody that ends up sharing that or exposing me of certain things. I'm prepared for that to happen. It's whatever. But yeah, that's my plan for moving forward. I want to, like I said, expose myself first, and then I'm going to expose all the other people within the Femdom community, and hopefully put some damage into the Femdom community. And yeah, that's all I really need to say in this video. Thanks for watching. See ya.